Let's all scream. Let's all scream. Scream, let's all scream.
Hi everyone and welcome to Let's All Scream. I'm Shehlaa Ali
And I'm Saleh Al Braik.
And I'm Hassan Al Marashi.
and thank you for joining us on this episode. First of all, I'd like to say Eid Mubarak everyone.
Yeah, Eid Mubarak,
Eid
guys.
Mubarak to everyone. Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah,
We hope you're all doing well.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope this Eid, as much as it's not as we expected and it's not how we want to celebrate it, at least we are with our loved ones and the immediate family. I hope everyone's Eid was good.
Yeah, we're recording this at the moment, the day before Eid. So we're all psyched in a way. Like Shehlaa was saying, like it might not be the same Eid that we're all
Exactly.
expecting.
Yeah,
but
but-
I'm still...
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it just because it's, something to celebrate. And
Yeah.
plus, I'm looking forward to the break, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely, like, I've even told Hassan that I'm going to make a schedule. And so we're going to wake up, like, this is what I plan on doing.
Okay.
I don't know how
Run
exactly.
me through your Eid.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
my-
too, because I don't know what schedule you're talking about.
I told you. Just this is what happens, Saleh.
Sorry, I had my
I'm just-
husband's ears on.
Yeah, I'm ignored usually. No, I was saying that we'll have a nice breakfast. He's gonna remember now. We'll have a nice breakfast, just a quick one because I don't want that to be the main event of the
Okay.
day. And then we'll get up, we'll wash, get ready, and then I was saying we'll have a nice iftar. Me in Ramadan mode. We'll have a nice lunch, and
Okay.
then
Yes, now I remember.
there you go. See.
When she said lunch, my ears perked.
We'll have a nice lunch, and I'm even thinking of making like a proper biryani and sides, and
That's cool.
I always feel like biryani is such a celebration food.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've only ever had biryani when I'm going to someone's house for an occasion. Like it's
Yeah.
a gathering
Who
or...
are-
Like, there's certain foods that you would serve at like a funeral or a sad occasion.
Yeah.
But biryani is always like for happy occasions. I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like,
the thing. So that's why I was like, oh, I'll make biryani. That's something
Nice.
nice that we haven't had from before Ramadan.
Yeah.
And then I was telling him we'll do like not game night, but game day or whatever.
Yeah.
Where we'll just, with his sister and then with whoever's around the house, we'll have, we just
play
sit down.
games and
play
stuff,
games
yeah.
Cool.
and everything.
For you guys listening as well, yesterday Shehlaa showed me something that she created for their baby for
Oh,
Eid,
yeah.
which is kind of like a very cute pouch, mini pouch for money, to receive money,
Yeah.
I guess. And it was so adorable. And then
And
I had
then
to...
they popped my bubble.
Yeah, I was like I literally had to stop her in her tracks and tell her, you do know that this is going to be a cashless Eid,
ID,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, we're not supposed to give actual like paper.
And I'm
notes.
just like, oh.
And like, by the way, when I say like a pouch, usually most people buy their own pouches from other like
Or
companies.
like envelopes, I've
Or
seen.
envelopes, yeah. But Shehlaa actually,
hand embroidered
So,
a pouch and
yeah.
stitched it.
So what I did was because I've been embroidering during this quarantine.
yeah.
So I came up with the idea of just doing a small little flower, like two flowers, and then just like a few leaves.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll show this on social
on our
media.
Instagram, yeah, we can post it.
But yeah, and then I came up with that, and I'm just like, you know what, that's cute. Let me make it into a pouch.
Yeah.
And then I just had to cut up some shirts, and so there were a few shirts that were lost in the process. but I mean, at the end result is very cute.
I think it's really nice, and I feel like if you do share that on
Yeah.
Instagram, I feel maybe some people would want to know how you did it, so that would be cool if
No,
you
I think I will. Inshallah, I'll post the
steps.
the pictures.
From our side, usually what happens is, you guys, if you tuned into the last episode, you'd know that our Eid and at least on the first day is so hectic. We get up very early.
Yeah.
And then we go out most of the day. So tomorrow is going to be a very strange day.
I feel like you're gonna feel the most.
Because
Yeah,
we're
I
always...
was telling you earlier this morning. I was saying, is this the first time, other than when you've traveled for Eid, is this the first time that you're in Dubai and you're not,
And not
like
going around?
going
I
out
feel
to
like
see
I'm
family?
cheating on family members, you know, in the sense that we're all, it's weird because even a lot of the senior members in our family, so from our side, the thing, when we do go from house to house, we're obviously visiting houses based on the, you know, our senior members of the
Yeah.
family. And so you feel bad in a way because they are the ones who are actually telling people,
Yeah,
oh
not
no,
to
you
come.
don't need to come anymore, because
Which is
Yeah.
very actually responsible of them.
Yeah.
A lot of people would, especially older generation, sometimes they wouldn't
They're-
care, or
yeah.
they'd be a bit like
Especially,
reckless about
yeah.
it.
Oh, there are.
A
I can
lot.
say one or two in our side that are like, who cares? Just come over. But obviously, we're not going to be
The
leaving.
majority is
Exactly.
how they are.
But like you said, I think I suggested it to my family, and I just said that, you know what, since we're not going to leave in the morning, or we're
Yeah.
not going to start our visitations tomorrow at all, let's wake up and let's have a nice Eid breakfast. And so
yeah.
each of us kind of suggested something, like I want bayt tomat, and like
Which is egg and tomatoes.
Yeah.
yes, it's like scrambled eggs, more or
And
less,
tomatoes.
tomatoes, and my cousins also selected a few things,
Mm-hmm.
and so we said we're gonna make it tomorrow and have it all together as like a first initiation breakfast.
Yeah.
Are you
normality.
still gonna do your Iranian food and
Oh, yeah.
Chinese
That's
food
has to be done.
for lunch?
Well, see, this was a debate this week, because we are obviously less people, right? We're not
Yeah.
doing gatherings, and so my aunt was just like, I don't think, you know, why
We
would
need
we
to.
need to do both cuisines? We're not
Yeah.
enough people. And so my cousin, who I'm currently staying with, was
Yeah.
just like, no, you can't
You
break
can't.
tradition.
Yeah.
It has to be both.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna go ahead with it, but with much smaller
Little
portions.
portions. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys, again, remember from the last episode, tomorrow's lunch is going to be my usual Iranian Chinese combo.
Honestly, the only thing in common those those cuisines have in common
Yeah.
is that, you know, when you order from an Iranian restaurant or a Chinese restaurant, you can't just order one thing.
Yeah.
You have to order lots of
Lots
different
of
things
small
that complement
things, yeah.
each other.
Which is why it's so weird, because you have like the Iranian versions of rice, and I
that's the
have the
thing.
sauces from the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
It's
Have you
so
ever
weird.
tried to mix this?
Oh yeah. I only mix. Like I had vegetable fried rice with kebab, or I'd have like zareshk rice with like a sweet and sour prawn curry. Like
That
it
is
just
so strange. But it actually, maybe it's because I'm fasting right now, but it actually sounds so good.
I think it's a fast.
But yeah, hopefully tomorrow will be different, but we
Yeah.
are still gonna celebrate, and we decided to do like a Zoom call with everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
I was
greet
thinking
each
of
other
doing
virtually.
that with my family.
Yeah, you could, because we're all going to get dressed up,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna like call each
Yeah.
person to
Yeah.
say hi, which I
Yeah.
think is really, really cool.
Yeah. Because for sorry.
No, I was just gonna say we haven't bought any new clothes for ourselves, but we did buy the baby her first like Eid
Yeah.
outfits.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna wear something out of the closet. Whatever.
We'll just pretend it's new.
I mean, it's been a while since people have seen us anyway,
No,
so I
definite-
think
that's
they're just
exactly-
gonna focus on us rather than what we're
I'm
wearing.
pretty sure you know there's those memes going around like I think my shoes think that I've died. It's probably
I
the same
posted
with
something
most
the
of
other
my
the
day.
clothes.
passport one.
I posted
Yeah.
something the other day with which a friend of mine, Yusuf, posted, and it was my password probably thinks that I've died, and I cracked up laughing. Of course, my mom had to comment and was like, "Astaghfirullah, don't say these things. It's a bad omen."
Yeah.
But yeah,
But no, I was saying because of this Eid is going to be different. Honestly, one thing though I don't miss is the topic for today is going to be insecurities, and so I'm going to talk. My side is going to be the social insecurities.
okay.
Just because I've dealt with social insecurities before, I have worked on it a lot, and I'm much better. But that was growing up. That was a big issue for me.
Do you mind elaborating on?
Yeah, like
What
what do you
is-
mean by
What do you mean by
social?
that?
Because that could be very broad.
Yeah. So for me, mainly I've always been the type of person that's very aware of everyone else's feelings, everyone else's opinions, and not
Right.
offending anyone. And so I've always been that type of person that will sit there in the gathering. I won't bring up any subjects, but if it's brought up, I will talk about it. But I'm always scared to bring up a subject or to bring up an opinion or a side to a subject and to offend anyone. And so I've always, and not only that, but like I've always been taught you have to sit well, or is this ladylike? Is it not ladylike?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I feel like I'm not gonna miss is just, you know, being
in that uncomfortable
yes, and
situation.
just exactly. And so for me, that's where my insecurities with social insecurities comes from.
And is it that you feel you might offend people, or like that you might come across in a different, like in a unflattering way, or you might come across as stupid or something like that?
No, it's mainly of offending people. I wouldn't say I feel, I don't want to come up across stupid or rude. Well, yeah, the rude part, but you know what I mean is like I am confident in my opinions, but I'm not confident enough sharing it to people who I'm not comfortable with.
Right.
Yeah.
I always like, you know, Saleh, once I get to know you, I'll open up and I'll be myself. But then I'm always that kind of person that I have the wall up and I don't want to bring you in until I'm sure that, you know, I'm not going to offend you, or I'm not going to be rude, or, you know, you're okay with whatever subjects we talk about.
Yeah. Do you, what do you feel like? So I just want to, so the listeners can maybe walk through your emotions. Sure. So if you're there, say you're sitting in, obviously for Eid gatherings or for Eid visitations, as per normal or what's supposed to be, you obviously have a lot of extended family which you've not seen in a while. So of course you're not very close with them. So there's a lot of small talk and probably awkward silences that may happen. But for you, and I share the, I understand where you're coming from. I may not relate exactly because from at least our side of the family, because I know that the females usually stay home to welcome the guests, and then the males would be the ones going around and visiting. So from you, I can imagine, you know, being the woman of the household, so you have to welcome, you have to be the hostess.
Yeah.
So how do you feel when that happens, when you get to like interact with people? And
small talk for me is usually, I would always go with the main ones, which is first of all, what I've been doing. Lately it's been the baby. I can always talk about the baby and endlessly.
Great conversation filler.
Yes. And there, you know, in the family, there are lots of people that have babies. So I have gotten closer with the moms of the family.
Yeah.
Growing up, the thing is while I grew up, we were a very small knit community that we knew everyone. So you rarely did you meet someone outside of the community.
Right.
And then when you met someone outside the community, I didn't really interact with them much until they started really being part of the community and like hanging out, and they show up at several gatherings, and then I get to know them, and then I'll slowly start talking, and you know, and I'll show up again. Sorry. I just wanted to say, has there been an instance where you perhaps once did share an opinion and it didn't end very well, and that is why you think it still lingers up until today? Actually, yeah, there has been a few, not per se that of me talking, but actions. For example, I was so young. I was like 5 or 6 years old, and we were sitting in my mom's friend house with a bunch of her friends, and one of the women asked me, can you go get me a glass of water? And so me being a child, I just like filled it up halfway.
Yeah.
And then I brought it. And then she had told me, no, this is actually very rude. She was a close friend, so it's not like this woman just rudely like told me off.
Right.
But she was telling me, no, basically,
aib.
Yeah,
which means like
it's a bit rude. You have to actually fill it up to the top or right below the rim. Other times is when my grandma passed away. I was in the basement and I didn't want to visit anyone or see anyone, and I was quite emotional. And one of our relatives came down and was like, "No, you have to go up and you have to be there, otherwise it's considered rude." So like these kind of
making sure that
stigmas
you're doing
exactly.
the right thing.
And because I never really. In Canada, social expectations are different than the Middle East. For going to Canada or going to Iraq and coming back, or like visiting the Middle East, it was very different. And so when I would go back to Canada, I don't know which ones I'm supposed to carry on and which ones I'm not. Or like going to Iraq, I didn't know which which
and
social
wrong should-
yeah
Social
exactly.
etiquette.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so my mom tried to like tell me, okay, no, this is right, this is wrong, but you never know how much are you doing, how right are you doing it, or
Yeah.
how wrong are you doing it,
Yeah.
and people can be very judgmental.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I relate to that a lot, actually, in a couple of different ways. First, in terms of the social etiquette and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my mom, Allah yarhamha, was Iraqi, and the Iraqi social etiquette is very
precise.
like people who are not from the culture might not understand, but there's like very specific rules. Like for example, I know a lot of households here have staff like a maid or a houseboy or something, or a helper, and when there's a gathering of men or women, the helper will be the one who's serving the food or the tea or whatever it is. But in Iraqi culture, that's considered very rude. It has to be one of the children
Yeah.
of the
Oh,
household.
okay.
And
who-
if it's a
who
men's
serve.
gathering, it has to be a man, and the woman would knock on the door, and then the
And
guy
pass it to-
pass it to
yeah.
the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another one.
And there's things like with
With the
tea.
tea, yeah.
You're
I
not
was
supposed to. Is it you're not supposed to leave the spoon in the tea?
Yeah,
or
so that's considered like a
Taboo.
like a masabba basically.
Oh,
like
okay.
an insult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you leave the spoon inside
the teacup.
the teacup, you're supposed to put it on
The side.
the plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like so many small etiquettes,
Yeah.
rules that you have to follow.
Even in UAE culture, like with
yeah.
with the coffee
Yeah.
cup, the Arabic coffee, you're not supposed to fill it to the top so people don't like burn their
Whereas
fingers.
with the
Yeah.
teacup, you're supposed to fill it to the top. If it's lower,
Yeah.
then it's considered rude.
Rude, yeah.
Even though it's like, sorry, sometimes I would leave a bit of space because I'm thinking you're going to add sugar, so it's going to go up.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're supposed to
I
fill
have
it
a
to
feeling like people, perhaps in the West, are like, "What are
What
these
are you
guys
talking
talking
about?"
about?"
Yeah.
But tea is a huge thing. Like even here, like Hassan was saying, like Arabic coffee or tea,
It's a big
you
thing.
can't fill it up too much, and if you fill it
Yeah.
up too low or too little, it's called. Sometimes they think that you're being greedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Or like
or
you're showing.
stingy,
You're being
yeah.
stingy.
There's even one I'm trying to remember. In a gathering, so when you go to visit someone, there's things. There's literally a list of the things that you're supposed to go through to serve.
Yes.
So you start with the
Juice.
No, before that, there's usually a small little plate of small little treats like
Sweets.
sweet like candy.
nuts.
Okay.
Oh,
Or,
okay.
yeah, like usually it's candy, and the ones that are individually wrapped. So you pick that up and you distribute it, and you give it to everyone, and then you put it down. After that, I think it's fruits, then it's water or juice, then it's fruits, and then if they're having dinner, it's gonna be dinner, and then it's desserts, and then tea. I think, and the last thing is supposed to be coffee, and you're not supposed to serve coffee until the very end because that means get out.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That
like
means you want-
this is
yeah.
there's so many,
And it's not the
specific-
first cup of coffee. It's I think after the second or something.
Yeah,
that
that's the
means
thing.
like
Do you know?
okay,
Like-
I don't know
leave.
if you guys know here, but في الإمارات or in the UAE, you know بخور?
Yes.
Yeah.
That means get out.
Oh really?
Like if at
Oh,
the
I
end-
never knew that.
Yeah, if you basically بخور, which
Incense.
incense. So
Yeah.
at the end of like a gathering or a meal, if someone comes out with a bukhur
Yeah.
or like a cup, like a
Incense holder.
means-
and you're passing it around, or not passing around, but
Yeah.
walking around with it, it means kind of like, oh, thanks for coming.
I
You
never
can
knew
use
that.
it. So if you ever see incense,
But of course,
Shehlaa,
with all
get
of
out.
these, it's never meant rudely. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
the
Is it the
tradition.
etiquette?
I
Yeah.
actually don't see many people practicing it when it comes to incense, but the coffee thing and
Yeah.
tea, I see till today.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and like even I remember one time I had visited my family in Iraq. This was after I got married, and I remember I was like, oh, we can just give this now, and mom was like, no, don't, did you forget? And I'm
Yeah.
just like, I felt like so insulted. I'm like, oh wait, I'm so sorry. Like, oh my god, I can't believe I just forgot this. And then I had to remember, oh wait, there is a
Like
format.
a
and
protocol,
yeah.
yeah. And I know I said I related to this, but in terms of also social insecurity, something
Yeah.
that I don't miss about gatherings is I feel like again, with talking about topics and stuff, I'm also insecure about what I bring up and insecure about saying the wrong thing. So I find myself like either staying really quiet
Yeah.
or rehearsing several times in my head what I'm going to say before I say it. And this, I mean, this applies I think this is just part of social anxiety in general, but like this applies on day-to-day
this
basis.
is something my mom taught me when I was so young. I'm sure if she hears this right now, she's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this stuck. But she used to tell me, say what you're going to say in your head 7 times before you say it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where
People would walk out of my house.
by the end. And I'm just like, and I remember when she first told me this, I remember thinking to myself, like, oh my God, 7 times? And I used to take it literally. But I think what she meant was like, oh, just rehearse what you're going to say, or like
Think about what
think
you're
about
twice.
what you're think
Which
about
a lot
what
of
you're
people
going to
do
say.
I feel like that would trip me up even.
One thing though I want to mention,
Yeah.
of course, is just that I think hearing you say this about having a social insecurity,
Yeah.
who would have ever thought that you would be a part of a podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Because honestly, the things that you share on this podcast are
Yeah.
things that I see you share outside of the podcast as well. Like this is who you are, which
Yeah.
I think is something that is a testament to your own insecurity. So you should always, use this as a way of thinking, maybe it's because you may not be able to see the person you're talking to.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. Like even people people from my childhood and people who really know me find out that I did a podcast and I'm like talking on this podcast. They're just like, really, you? Seriously? Because it's linked with all the insecurities I've had.
Yeah.
Which is part of it was my voice,
Yeah.
social anxiety.
Yeah.
Speaking like publicly,
Exactly.
I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, speaking publicly, don't get me started on that. I used to hate like giving speeches in front of class and school, but yeah. So like those were always the things that I've always been scared of or stayed away from, and so the fact that I'm doing this, definitely, I don't know I don't even know who's sitting in front of you right now and talking because this is not usually me.
Well, I think the way now to get you to talk publicly or to have any
Yeah.
conversation is to have a microphone in front of you.
And just sit in an empty room.
And sit in an empty room and you'll talk to the person from that room.
That sounds very good. I'm okay with that.
But another thing that I don't miss from AIDS gatherings is, how when you've seen relatives or friends or family that you haven't seen in a while, they'll say to you, oh, you've gained some weight, or like,
or you look too skinny.
yeah,
Or,
or
You look
any,
tired, or
any
there's always-
comments about the physical appearance.
physical appearance,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like that's so insensitive, and like you don't know what the person is going through
Yeah.
or has been through, and you don't know how that might affect them. Like so many people have, underlying issues when it comes to their body image,
entire body. Yeah, not even.
and so you don't know how it's going to impact that person. So I know it's like it maybe will come out of a place of love, although mostly I feel like it comes out of just a place of insensitivity.
I find that, by the way, it's really our culture that has, I don't know, like, I don't know if
yeah,
it's
I agree.
People feel entitled to
having
sharing that opinion.
Exactly. Like with my Western friends, I don't really have that, every time I see them, there's an update, you look thinner, you look like you gained weight, you look tired, you look...
You know what, I have a theory in my head. I think because there's so many in Middle Eastern culture, there's so many topics that are taboo that you don't talk about. So this is what they can talk about.
like
Whereas if you look at it in Western culture, usually there's topics that people are so open about that you would never talk about in Middle Eastern culture.
Yeah.
But then you don't talk about things like weight. And so they're kind of like, I feel like we need to find a middle ground.
Yeah. That's the thing, Yani. For me, I don't know. I've also had that kind of insecurity. But like growing up, it was mainly, it was mainly our culture.
Yeah.
That I would, like, with my other friends, I didn't really care about it so much. But then the other day, my mom sent me photos of when I was, like, a teenager and, like, in high school.
Yeah.
And I think even, like, in grade 7, 8. And I look at myself and I'm like, I was a thin kid. And yet, looking at how I saw myself, I was like, I thought I was the fattest kid in the world. And looking at myself in the photos, I'm like, Miskina, I actually look thin and I actually look healthy.
Yeah.
And so it's just, yeah, I don't know. That's for me.
And this is just like a little funny story that I think my mom, may she rest in peace, if she knew I was like this, she'd probably kill me. But once a relative that used to come over very frequently commented on my weight. You know,
I know the
you know the
story.
story. And so and this was like the like third or fourth time they had done this, and my mom had told them, you know, like, look, Hassan really doesn't want you commenting on this because I
And
had
he used to be very, like, I'll have to say, I've seen him talk about Hassan, and he was quite rude.
yeah. And so then I was making him tea, and so I went to the kitchen, and instead of sugar, I put a dash of salt and a little bit of pepper.
Like, now nobody's gonna come over for tea.
I have to say I was young, to be fair, but yeah, Shehla's heard him still do it.
Yeah.
So apparently my little prank as a kid never didn't
Hint,
work.
hint, Shehlaa.
But yeah, unfortunately I can't report on what the reaction was because I just ran upstairs right after I served the tea. Yeah, and my mom was so mad at me for doing that. But Saleh, you speaking of body image insecurities, you shared on your Instagram before that you deal with body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
So if you're comfortable and if you don't mind, would you mind sharing with us and with the listeners what that means and, you know, how you deal with that?
Yeah, of course. So if I were to just cut it down or simplify it,
Yeah.
so BDD or body dysmorphic disorder is basically an obsession of a person on a single facet of their physical appearance. So if you actually might have it and you won't know, it's a mental health condition whereby if you're so fixated, say whether it was your shape or your nose, eyes, ears, whatever, a smile, whatever it may be, it's basically considered a form of BDD. And I never knew I had it this bad up until, so growing up, Hassan knew my entire childhood. So I was a very fit kid up until I was a teenager. I was always running, always in sports teams, etc. Then when I was a teenager, I think I was the type of person that I would very much eat my feelings, and that can be a whole other episode.
Yeah.
But basically, it led to a huge weight gain. I went to weighing over 100 kilos, and just so
wow.
that everyone knows, probably no one met me, but my height is 167 centimeters. So being a height of
Yeah.
1.67 meters,
Yeah.
and having a weight of over 100 was definitely not healthy. I was way, way over what I was supposed to be. And I was doing no physical exercise or fitnesses for fitness journey or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I dealt with that a lot when I was in my teenage years. Towards the end, though, when I went to university, that's when things changed. And I started losing weight in the first year being abroad. And of course, when you're abroad, you're in a different environment. You're not having home cooked food. You don't have your comfort foods as well. And you're kind of experimenting being a new person.
Yeah.
So for me, it was really easy to get in the grind of being a new version of myself. And so I was going to the gym. And I dropped. I'm talking like from, say, around probably my heaviest was about 108 or 110. I dropped to 58 kilos.
Wow.
Wow.
Which is, over, about 50 kilos, give or take, in weight.
In
think
what
like
period
for-
of time, though?
Oh, it was nothing. It was less than a year.
Wow.
Like, yeah. It was because what happened was I started watching what I ate. So I lost a healthy amount. So I started losing. I was in, the 70s area of kilos. And I was like, okay, this is good for me. But then I was like, you know what? For the next month and a half, I'm actually going to jump this up even more. Because why? I still thought I
Too
looked
big.
horrible. I
Yeah.
thought I could see like, oh my God, love handles and, flab and stuff like that. Alhamdulillah, one of the things that I didn't realize, or the
Yeah.
blessings that I was blind to, was that during the weight loss process, I didn't have, actually don't know what the term is, but I didn't have the skin,
Excess
I'm not-
skin.
excess
Excess
skin.
skin.
So that was one of the good things I've heard of when people
Yeah.
have a huge drop in weight.
That was going to be an honest question, like a TMI question. Is,
Yeah.
Did you have any stretch
No,
marks or
so
loose skin?
that's the good part about
Okay.
it.
I think also because you were still very young.
Yes, I was at this time I was 18,
Yeah,
so I was
okay.
still, my metabolism was like getting faster and stuff. But then I went into an unhealthy part where I lost the last 20 kilos, and all I was having more of the it was a ridiculous thing of 2 months of just having soup, salads, and liquids, which what resulted into a very unhealthy weight
Unhealthy,
that I
yeah.
reached. And my mom wouldn't see me a lot, obviously, because I was studying abroad.
Yeah.
So when I'd
Yeah.
come back for the holidays and she'd see me, I shocked everyone. Everyone started saying that I looked horrible.
Yeah.
In a way
in
that
an unhealthy way.
unhealthy. They
Yeah.
wouldn't use like negative terms, but they just said you look okay. Most of them would say you look sick, which I guess that means unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I still thought of myself as overweight. And imagine what I had to do. I had to remind myself that, and sorry if this is a bit graphic for some people, but after I'd shower or anything, I'd actually just look at my body, and if I could see bone,
Yeah.
that to me was like, I'm okay. Imagine, like that's
Yeah.
the
That's
mindset
how-
I was
Yeah.
as an 18-year-old. And so it really,
It does affect you.
it hurt. And I'm not going to say that 14 years later, I'm 32, that it still doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
Up until today, I'm much, alhamdulillah, I'm much more, I'm at a healthier weight.
Yeah.
I have obviously removed all delusions of what a beautiful or a healthy body looks like. For
Yeah.
me at the moment, yes, I exercise daily, but that's because I want to.
Yeah.
I eat what I want to eat. If I don't eat anything in particular, it's
Yeah.
because I physically believe that it may not be that good for you. So obviously, I don't want to go overboard on sugar.
Yeah.
Sometimes people know this if they know me. I've gone on a paleo diet, and
Yeah.
that's just I don't want to call it a diet. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's just because I don't.
You felt better on
I
it.
felt better because
Yeah.
it's basically being paleo means you avoid things that give you digestion problems, and I
Yeah.
thought that helped. So there are things that I still do today, like I don't like to have dairy as in milk.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have that, and other things as well. But I've overcome it a lot, but
Yeah.
I still can't lie and say that I don't deal with it up until today, whereby I still look at myself every day.
Yeah.
I actually still check
Criticize?
I check my weight every day. I know it's not healthy.
We know that.
You guys know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I check my weight, and it's something that I could never shake up, and it's something that I'm still trying to overcome and
Yeah.
to realize
Yeah.
that being healthy just means you're being happy. You're
Yeah.
happy with your
But I will
yourself.
To be
say,
honest-
knowing you, you've gotten to a much better place. Of course, it's like you said, it's a constant process, it's a
Yeah.
constant journey. You're always gonna have that voice in the back of your head, and it needs to be always worked on. But I see you now, not eating certain things or going on certain meal plans for health reasons,
Yeah.
and because it feels better
Yeah.
rather than because of image issues.
And to be, 'cause again, I didn't know you your entire childhood, but I knew you in the past 5 years. And
Yeah.
just in the past 5 years, I have seen also growth and change. Just saying.
Okay.
And which I'm also proud of you for, because
Oh, thank you.
I remember I remember the first Ramadan we spent together. We hung out.
Mm-hmm.
You were also, you went from like the beginning of Ramadan to the end. You bulked up immediately, and I'm just like, what are you doing? It was too much. And I remember even one time Hassan was telling you can slow down and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at you now, you have changed and you
Yeah.
have gotten to a better place.
You remember, like because obviously in my head it was a
Yeah.
psychological thing. I was like, oh, Ramadan's coming, which
Yeah.
means more, food in a
Yeah.
way, ironically. And so I was going to the gym like 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Or I would stay there for hours on end so that I can do 3 classes a day.
Yeah.
And it was unhealthy. And you guys saw, like, I bulked up, and it wasn't a good way.
It wasn't. It was excessive.
Yes.
If I say
Yeah.
so, and like it wasn't nice. It got
And it
to a
was
point
straining
where,
your body. I remember
Exactly.
you
It was.
being very exhausted.
And injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It led to a few injuries, and actually a surgery at one point when I was going a bit overboard. So for my back, and the point I'm just trying to get across is that your weight or the issues with around weight might never leave you, actually, especially
Yeah.
if you deal with BDD like I do, or if it's not even about your weight, if it's any other physical appearance. I've now come to realization that alhamdulillah, I am created the way I am created.
Yeah.
And as long as I feel like I am healthy and I'm doing the right choices,
Yeah.
then that is good enough for me. And so whatever is good enough for you, do you, honestly. Like, I'm tired of just seeing people, all that I see online is fake beauty,
Yeah.
which I think causes
even
kids
more insecurity.
more
Yeah.
insecurities than ever before. I just had like people in my community being those I compared myself to. And now, for the kids now, they're
There's so
looking at the
much.
whole globe. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you know, I have my niece coming up to me and always telling me, "Oh, look, she's so pretty, she's so pretty," but I'm not, which is something that's very something that I feel like we should stop. But I would just wish that someone was there to tell me
Yeah.
at that age that I looked okay
Yeah.
Yeah.
being the way I was. And like, going back to the very first point that Hassan said, not having those rando
Insensitive
people coming telling
comments,
you,
yeah.
you know, oh, you got bigger, or oh, did you know, you look tired, or oh, you look bad.
Yeah.
And then obviously this turns into a whole swirl effect
Yeah.
to where we reached today.
Yeah.
Actually, something that someone did say to me once, and really it resonated with me, was that God gave our bodies to us as a gift, and we have to take care of it, and we have to be aware of how we treat it, and how we deal with it. And it stuck with me till now, and I always look at that, and I'm like, you know what? I have to take care of my body
Yeah.
because God gave it to me as a gift.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was something that I thought maybe our listeners could also
Benefit from.
yeah.
Yeah, because if you think about it, a lot of the times when we look in the mirror, there's a lot of negative self-talk that happens, and it takes, and I'm guilty of this, as I'm sure many people are. And I think a part of getting to the right weight or,
Yeah.
size or whatever it is that your goal is not just diet and exercise, but also the mental aspect of it, and talking and like shaping that relationship with your body.
Yeah.
Where you have, and with food, where you don't criticize yourself like, oh, you're so bad, you had like French fries for dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, avoiding
Like positive affirmations.
yeah, positive
Yeah.
affirmation, loving yourself, and just accepting what you see in the mirror and having realistic expectations. Like, I know I'm never ever going to look like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, for example. Not that is an aspiration of mine, but
Yeah.
so to have a realistic expectation of what I can look like at my healthiest.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something about positive affirmations. I think yesterday as well, I was like, oh, tonight there was like, I had this one dessert in mind that I really wanted. So yeah, I ran an extra 2 minutes because I was like, I'm gonna enjoy that dessert and I'm gonna earn it. So I swear, like literally after those 2 minutes were done, I felt so relaxed because I was just like, now I can eat at
it.
ease and not guilt.
Yeah.
And I think it's just some of those things where you just,
It's all about balance.
yeah. And I have a
Yeah.
happy dance when I eat, like, things that I'm not supposed to be eating.
Yeah.
But I have a little happy dance. I don't know about you guys, but for me, if you see me ever doing a happy dance while eating, it just means I'm really happy.
But something Hassan said that that reminded me of also something else is when I got pregnant, my body looked a certain way.
Yeah.
And I at the time I thought to myself I could. So no, not a lot of people know this about me. When I got married, I was super thin, and I think I was unhealthy-ish thin
Yeah.
in my head because I was analyzing every little small thing I was having.
Yeah.
Over the years, I let go of that, and I was able to get to a better place where I have what I like. I'm not
Yeah.
as picky as I used to be.
Yeah.
But then when I got pregnant, before I got pregnant, I was telling myself I will go back to that way and to that type of body and having that very thin figure. And then once I got pregnant, I had to learn to let go of that expectation and that realization of me. Okay, I'm never going to look.
Your body's changing, basically.
Yeah. Because nobody really talks about this as much, where your body does change, especially when you do get pregnant. And you have, like you were saying, Saleh, on social media, there are so many moms that will talk about, my body bounced back within like 10 weeks of giving birth, or like within a few weeks. And I'm like, that is not the realistic expectations of how it happened.
Or how it should be.
Your body literally grew a human being, gave birth, and don't expect it to go back to the way it was. It's a different body now.
And it's a very traumatic experience on a body.
Yeah.
So you need to respect it and give it the time and rest that it needs.
And someone who has helped me with all of this was Aman Murad. And she, in the way she was a fitness coach.
Okay.
And she helped me with postpartum training and getting my body not back to, because I don't want to say back to a better place, but it was a better place.
Yeah.
She helped me heal my body and to be able to learn to use my body in ways where I can use the strength of my body and then to strengthen the weaknesses of my body.
Yeah.
And I think for those moms who are looking to have that information and to learn more, they should really check her out, because she really helped me in this process. And for those who are actually looking to get into training, especially postpartum, I think get someone who is specialized in postpartum, which sadly there isn't a lot in this region. And even me going through postpartum, I was looking, and it took me a while until I found Emmet, because I wasn't able to find anyone else who specializes in postpartum training and
fitness.
And because your body really is different once you've given birth. And slowly I've learned to accept that and to love my body now, no matter what it looks like or how it's
compared
not
to before.
So I don't know, that for me that was something that brought it up when you were talking about expectations.
I think one thing that I've learned throughout this conversation, especially on the when it comes to physical appearance, is the fact that we used a lot of the before term and looking at things that are for before. So I love the fact that you said to stop or to disconnect the fact that there is no before anymore. Before is when you were, like, again, like when I think about it, okay, I was at that unhealthy weight when I was 18. That's 14 years ago.
Your body is totally different.
Being an 18-year-old and a 32-year-old is completely different.
Yeah.
So stop looking behind and looking at things that you want to attain that were in the past, because like Shehlaa said, your body is changing all the time. There's a new you every day. So what you look like healthy tomorrow is not going to be the same that you think you'd look like a few years ago or back. So again, disconnect and just reconnect with you, who you are, and then you'll probably find happiness in the future.
And with that, I think we're going to end today's episode. Once again, Eid Mubarak, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you took something out of this episode.
Sorry for getting too deep into it.
But we feel like, this podcast is about sharing things that we want to scream about. And so this was something that we wanted to scream about this week.
And hopefully you guys don't think that you're alone in this. So if you guys do have anything you want to suggest for us to talk in future episodes, please feel free to let us know on our social pages. Again, we do this on our stories and our main posts as well, where we ask you about things that you'd like for us to quote unquote scream about. So always remember that we're here with you and we want to share our personal journeys with you so that you may relate.
And there's a few ways that we can keep the conversation going. So as always, you can either email us on our email, which is letsallscream.podcast@gmail.com, or reach us on Instagram or Facebook at Let's All Scream. Eid Mubarak once again, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Eid Mubarak, guys. Bye.
See you guys.